Welcome to the show Meet the Boss. I'm your host, William Suzomba, and today on the show we have a very interesting person that we shall be introducing to you, and I know he's someone that you would love to meet. Why not just sit back and relax, and after the short commercials, we'll come back and you shall be meeting my guest on the show today, Meet the Boss.
Need a car? Log on to Connectnigeria.com.
You're welcome back from that short commercial. Once more, I'm your host, William Suzomba, and today on the show, Meet the Boss, I have a very unique gentleman, someone of interesting background, and he's no other but Mr. Eizu Uwaoma. I hope I got that right.
That's striking. Not a lot of people get a chance to pronounce it right, and you just did. Are you Igbo?
Welcome to do, sir. Nice having you on Meet the Boss. Yeah. Now, what does HEXAVIA Group do? And why that unique name? For many of us who are watching today, the name HEXAVIA rings a lot of bell, especially from the movie world. So why that unique name, HEXAVIA, and what does HEXAVIA Group do?
Well, the one from X-Men is Xavier. I started with an X. Mine started with a H, H-A-X. But like they say, mystery creates value. So on the purpose, I want to be mysterious and not explain what the name means. So you can fill up the space on what HEXAVIA means.
True. I like that. Now, what do you do? What does HEXAVIA Group do?
Yeah, HEXAVIA is a business and brand management company, basically. We help people build businesses, we restructure businesses. So whether you're a startup who just has nothing but just an idea, or you're a guy who's been running business but just thinks that you could do things better, maybe competition is getting you stiff, perhaps you need to talk to us. So we're basically a startup business consultant as well as restructure big businesses. The restructured ones, whether you're talking about the rough and tumbles, you're talking about the slot retail stores, or you're talking about any of the fancy businesses that you see around, most of them chances are that they have the HEXAVIA touch in it. But what I'm more passionate about is trying to take a virgin idea from scratch, something that was just in someone's head, and putting it in a store and saying, hey, you know what, Nigerians, there's a need for us to start building world-class Nigerian brands, and that's what's been missing over time. I grew up knowing companies that my parents used to work in, but right now they're not in existence anymore. Whether you're talking about Leventis, you're talking about Kingsway, you're talking about Volks, these are companies that we grew up knowing, but then you don't have them anymore. So what I'm concerned about is people who can start to seize the future, because only he that sees the future that can seize the future. People that can be futuristic and walk from the future to the present, which basically is vision. I take people's vision and I turn them into tangible products that are sellable for profit and for brand building.
It's interesting you mentioned all of this, because coming from the background of a young entrepreneur, one would easily capture the concept that this is a fellow who's trying to protect the long road of working class individuals. Like you rightly mentioned that some established names that you knew in the past that your parents worked in today are not in existence. So am I right to say that you're kind of helping to pave the way for present and future generations to have a befitting work career?
Sincerely, the problem is I come from your generation, so it's safe, so it doesn't look like I'm talking down on my generation because I'm a part of that generation. My generation is looking for easy microwave means to success, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's called a deal. We just want to make this one deal and explode. In the terms of a broken English, they would say they just want a hammer. Right? But the thing about hammering and just making a deal is it's not sustaining. So the difference between the guy who's just trying to hammer and the guy who's trying to build a business would be the structure. I'm talking about the people, the process, and the system. So what I'm trying to do, or what we do for a living, is structure out ideas so they don't just make money, but they can build something that is transgenerational. And that's most times what is missing in the equation. Somebody was just talking to me last week about a brand that we all know. It's 250 years deep. Started by a guy called Arthur Guinness, right? Now, Arthur Guinness went from Dublin, basically, in the UK, basically. This guy wanted to buy a space, and then he didn't have funds to buy up the space. So they said, you know what, since you don't have money to buy up the space, why don't you get it on lease? And they said, how many months do you want us to lease the space for you? Because he said he wanted to do a brewery, which later became Guinness. So they said, how many months? He said, no, I'm not doing this for months. I want to lease this space for 250 years. Now, that's deep. That means that he had an idea that he was sure was going to last for 50 years. Talk about it. I mean, they celebrated their 50 years a couple of years ago, right? So that's the point. The point is, if you know what the problem is, there won't be problems. But the problem is, we don't know what the problem is. And the problem is, most times people don't build anything that's structural, right? Things that have good processes, good businesses, and most importantly, good people and good system. And that's where I come in.
Interesting. Now tell us what I know from our previous discussion. You said your company also stands to reach out to young minds, male, female, from different backgrounds, to prepare them for the long run that you just mentioned. What are your strategies? How do you target these individuals, and how do you get the right kind of persons to coach, to train, to groom for the future?
I mean, fundamentally, if you knew better, you do better. Anybody that's not doing well is basically two things that's making him not do well. It's the things he knows, ignorance, and then the people he knows or the people he doesn't know, people. So I've realized that there's a template to success. That's what people don't understand. There's no such thing as luck. Luck is actually where preparation meets opportunity. The real luck is a combination of people and knowledge. And so the plot for me is trying to create a sanctuary, a community that is built on two things: people and knowledge. And that's where the business club comes in, which is what I was saying behind the cameras, that Nigeria, what's missing in the Nigerian equation is people who have great minds and who have opportunities. And opportunities are developed by people, and then the great minds developed by knowledge. So if you knew better, you do better. So the concept right now is, let's create a business club of the best and the most sound young people you know. So we have this community. It's almost like this young cartel of people between 18 to 35 who are exceptionally extraordinary, what you want to call an outlier, right? High flyers in the making. And then we'll put them in a room, and every single week we get to meet up. And guess what? Most of these guys in the last 5 years have become top-level executive in multinationals, also top-level executive at startups. So in the next 10, 20 years, power is naturally going to exchange hands. So when that power begins to exchange hands, these are the people who are positioned to take that power. So for me, it's not just the business club and what I do is not just a business, it's a plot to help build the next generation of success stories in Nigeria. You should be one of them.
That's beautiful. That was beautifully said. Now, I would also love to know from your standpoint how you see the SME industry in Nigeria. But we'll take that comment from you once we get back from the short commercial break. Please stay tuned.
Grow your business fast. Log on to Connectnigeria.com.
You're welcome back. As I was saying earlier, Mr. Eizu, the SME business. Now, I want to get your take. How do you view the SME industry in Nigeria?
This is real common sense. 200 years ago in America, there were few people who had SMEs, very small. They employed between 5 to 10 people. One of them was Henry Ford. Another one was Rockefeller. The other one was Carnegie. The other was Thomas Edison. SMEs, just young guys like us. 200 years down the line, Rockefeller today owns ExxonMobil. He owns Chevron. Do you call that SMEs anymore? They are big businesses. Ford, this is a young guy who had 3 people who worked in his workshop to do cars. Today, Ford is one of the biggest automobile companies. So that's what the writer that you're talking about is trying to explain, that in every business, in every system, in every country, the backbone of success should come from the SMEs. But the problem is the guys who are supposed to be SME startup owners are busy with their CVs looking for jobs. So you know that crap of go to school, get good grades, and you get good jobs? They're still basking in that euphoria. But the truth is, you can go to school, get good grades, and you still can't find jobs. And a lot of first-class people on the road who are looking for jobs. So there are two things. You can either get out of school and join that long wagon and be part of the problem, or you can be part of the solution. If you're not getting better, then you're getting worse.
So still on that point you just made, which I believe was lovely, what are your advice to young individuals who are trying to buy time to see such entrepreneurs that we're just talking about and who are aspiring to be like them?
2 words. One is value. You must have tangible value. And when I say value, it's not money, it's not even time. It might be something creative. Sometimes humility is a value. Yeah. You can't come to, and sometimes this is really painful, and I'm just having a question, assuming there's no camera here. You have somebody whose mother is saying, come and mentor my child. The first thing that comes to my head is, where's your child? Right? Your mother, why is your mother talking for the child? Why is the mother talking for the child? So sometimes you must have some sort of value, right? That we must be creative. In life, it's not what you don't have that stops you. It's what you have and don't know how to use. It's called creativity, right? So people shouldn't make excuses, because in those scenarios, there's always somebody who's making something out of the same scenario that you're in, the same position you're in. So what this whole thing is about is young people have to find a way to be very creative. You have to start thinking out of the box. Scratch that. You actually have to start thinking like there's no box. That's what this whole thing is about.
Interesting. Now, Can you also tell us what your biggest challenges are? I mean, for every business owner, there must be some challenges. You can't tell us it's been smooth sail all the way. So what are some of the key challenges you have had as an entrepreneur?
The biggest challenge is people. People. I mean, if you own a business, you're going to spend 70% of your time in your business talking with people. Whether the people are your customers, the people are your employees, the people are your employers. The problem in this country is you have a lot of people looking for jobs, right? But these people are actually, it's not that they're not looking for jobs. The problem is not unemployment. The problem is unemployability. If you ever sat on the other end of a recruitment process, you'll be shocked that you have CVs for 10 people. You have a position for 10 people. You interview 1,000 people show up for interview. You still can't find 10 people, right? So people is a major problem. People, but I've learned to also counter that. I've learned to give myself up for talent management. So I've learned to take people who might not have all the skills and I have to refine them. So really, CEO has to be a talent manager. So I think it's a major thing. That emotional intelligence is important. In the early days of HEXAVIA, we had lost deals out of anger. We've lost deals out of pride. But I took a crash course on emotional intelligence, and I've learned that I might not be able to change people's situations or people's anger, but I can change my own situation. So there are two things: there's action and a reaction. I might not be able to change your own action, but I can change my reaction to your action. So it's not what happens; it's how I react to what happens. So I've become a bit more understanding with younger people, with patience when they don't do the right thing, and also with customers.
That's beautiful. Now, finally, I have one question coined into two phases. One is, do you have role models? Because I know role models are very important in an entrepreneur's life. In short, in everybody's life, be you an artist, a musician, an actor. So who are your role models, and do you read books, motivational books, business management books? If yes, share those tips with those watching, young entrepreneurs watching. Share those ideas.
Do I have role models?
Yeah.
Yes, I do have role models. From afar and from a distance as well as up close. So up close, there's a guy called Shay Wright, fantastic guy. I was the former bank MD. Had an interaction with him while I was young, and he changed my life. The other two models, I'm still hoping I'll meet. Don't laugh at me. I'm not being sarcastic. One of them is Jay-Z, and I'm a huge fan of Jay-Z. The reason why is because I like I like the fact that he can go into a new territory and build a world-class brand out of it. Before Jay-Z, nobody took hip-hop serious. And he made hip-hop look cool. And on top of that, he's in a very unstructured and very indiscipline-based industry, entertainment. But he's able to come out with character. He's one of the few entertainers that have very low scandals. He's able to hold his life in order, have a family that actually works, a world-class man marrying another world-class woman, Beyonce, and they have their life in order. So I'm learning about discipline. I've learned that there are two things in life: what you want, which is all the temptations, and what you want most. So when you're faced with a temptation, right, which you'd always have, especially as you go up the ladder, you're exposed to more temptations. Yeah. Whether you're talking entertainment, you're talking sports, you have the same things. You have groupies, you have drugs, you have alcohol, you have nightlife, you have a lot of things. You even have time to cut corners in terms of your character and to compromise with your quality of what you stand for. So when faced with the decisions, I look at things from two perspectives. What I want, which is the temptation, and then what I want most. Now, what I want most keeps me away from what I want. So for Jay-Z might be tempted to want to cheat on Beyonce, right? That's what he wants. But what he wants most is to be one of the powerful young black men who's a mentor to a lot of people. So that thing would overwrite what he wants most. I think the same principle applies to maybe an Obama and a Michelle, right? Obama loves the White House and loves the president more than he would love a quickie with anybody in the White House. So he decides, what do I want and what do I want most? So it's discipline that I learned from Jay-Z.
Good one. What about the books?
Well, I don't read a lot of motivational books, funny enough. I think motivation in itself is a temporary solution to a permanent problem. I'm not looking for someone who will motivate me. And when I talk to people, I don't like people who say motivate me, because motivation is like having your bath. If you stop, you become dirty again. So why don't you find inspiration, something deep from inside of you? Right, so self-starters, that's what's missing in Nigeria. We have too many people who want people to push them, and it comes from a religious background. People go to church every Sunday. Like, if they don't go to church in 2 Sundays, they will backslide. That's dependency. You have to get to that point where whether you go to church or not, you're very good at what you do. So what I read instead of motivational books are strategy books. I love my favorite books. If you come to my archive, chances I've read The Prince by Machiavelli 10 times. I've read 40 Laws of Power. Right, I've read The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I've read 33 Strategies of War. What do all these books have in common? their war strategy book, because that's how I love to see life. Yeah, because I like to see things from a war perspective, because I want to see the world as a battlefield. I want to see my business as a battlefield. The market is the battlefield. Yeah. The price for the war is my customer, and my enemy is my competitor. So I like to look at life from that perspective, and that's what guides me all through. So I don't want to lose. War is a place where there's no place for second place. Nobody goes to war and they give me a prize for second. What do I start? What do I stop? And what do I keep doing? How can I get better? For if what you've done today still looks big to you today, then it means that you have not done much today.
Beautiful. Well, I mean, we can keep going on all day. Well, before I go, I have to throw in this last one. What are your dreams for Nigeria? I mean, we're in Nigeria, we're Nigerians. You're a Nigerian young entrepreneur. What are your dreams? Let's say in the next 5 years. Where do you see Mr. Eizu Uwaoma? Where do you see HEXAVIA Group? Where do you see Nigeria in the big picture 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I want to see myself in a sanctuary of all the world business leaders. And when I sit on that seat, I don't feel like I'm disadvantaged. You know what happens when you have someone who graduated from, say, a UniJoss, and you put him in Harvard, and he will naturally have inferiority complex. I want to build a business, a world where if you put a ExxonMobil, I put on a Wando, they're at par. I want to see a world where there's equality across borders. I hate the fact that a billionaire in Naira is a bloody millionaire in dollars. Right? I want to see an enabling environment where Nigerian businesses, Nigerian minds can compete favorably with anybody in any country at par. And to me, only at that point will Nigeria start to make sense.
Well, there you have it, folks. Mr. Eizu Uwaoma, an entrepreneur, an SME business owner, a motivational speaker, I must say, and a business strategist, giving you all the wonderful tips as to how to be a successful SME business owner. Whether you're a young entrepreneur there, an aspiring young entrepreneur, the interesting thing of note is the fact that you can make it if you have a positive mind. Be rest assured that the sky can only be the beginning. Now, remember, before I go, you can always catch this episode and other episodes on our website, www.connectnigeria.com. There you can read more about Mr. Eizu and other wonderful guests we've had on this show. And the site has enough information that can help you in your various fields as a young entrepreneur, as an aspiring entrepreneur. So once more, I want to thank you for being on the show today, for staying glued to Meet the Boss, brought to you by Connectnigeria.com. Tune in same time, same station. I'm your host, William Tuzomba, signing out. Bye, folks.
Looking for a business? Log on to Connectnigeria.com.